You're tired of non-contact sports, boring games, boring life? Well, I got a game for you. It takes place right on the surface right over here. Hockey is typically played on an ice surface like this. This is a standard NHL-sized rink. And I say NHL because there's also Olympic-sized rinks, which are 200 feet long. Which this is probably around 200 feet long. It's a little shorter. But the main difference between an Olympic and NHL size is the width. The width of this one, if you look closely, it's probably roughly 75 feet long. Wide, I should say. And Olympic rinks are 85 feet long. Some of you might be kind of skeptical about that. That doesn't seem like that much, but the open ice surface of an Olympic ice sheet makes a huge difference in the gameplay, the whole style of play, and I'll touch on that in a moment. But you'll look here, a few basics you'll need to know. Neutral zone right here is 54-foot zone from blue line to blue line, divided up in half, 27-foot halves each. And that's really pretty self-explanatory. It's a neutral zone. It's not one team's offensive or defensive zone. It's right in between. Now, neutral zone comes into play a lot with transitions and generally, just transitional play. Defensive zone, we'll say the home team, as you can see, is marked on this bench. For the first and third period, that would mean that this would be the defensive zone. It flip-flops every period, switches. That's not a technical term. But then this would be their offensive zone and the guest's defensive zone. So it's vice versa. One's offensive zone is the other team's defensive zone. Now that goes from blue line to the end of the ice. From blue line to the goal line is 60 feet. That's a number used pretty commonly. And then generally people don't score from that far out. You'll see some good defenders in the NHL. Nick Lidstrom's a big guy who takes a lot of shots from the blue line there and ends up scoring them. Occasionally you'll see people score from center ice. Al McKinnon is a pretty big one of those guys. He retired, but he had the NHL slap shot record before Zdeno Chara became.
Has been called the fastest game on ice, and for good reason. The action almost never stops. So for those of you who are new to the sport of hockey, it's time for Hockey 101, and a look at several basic rules that are important to understanding the game. Icing occurs when a team shoots the puck from its side of center ice, behind the center red line, across the opponent's goal line, without the puck passing through any part of the goal crease. Icing is not called, it's waved off, when a team is shorthanded as the result of a penalty, when the opposition could have made a play on the puck before it went across the goal line, or when a player of the team shooting the puck touches it before an opposing player. After the puck is iced, play stops, and a face-off is held in the defensive zone of the team that was called for icing. Offside occurs when an offensive player crosses the blue line into the attacking zone before the puck. The determining criterion for offside is the positioning of the skates. They must be entirely over the blue line ahead of the puck for a player to be called offside. Play is stopped and the face-off is held. Tag-up offside occurs when the puck crosses the blue line with an offensive player or players still inside the offensive zone. The player or players must leave the offensive zone before touching the puck and returning into the offensive zone to avoid an offside call.
Dennis, I know that some in our audience don't know the finer points of hockey. Could you tell them, for example, what is icing?
Well, icing happen when the puck come down, bang, before the other guys. Nobody there, My arm comes out, then the game stop, then start up.
I see. What is high sticking?
High sticking happen when the guy take the stick, and he go like that. You don't do that.
You don't do that?
Oh, no, never, never.
Why not?
Against the rules. You're stupid when you do that. Just some English pig with no brain
Dennis,
at all,
What is slashing?
Slashing is like that,
Hmm? And there's a penalty for that?
Yeah, and for a trip also,
Oh.
like that, and for hook like this, and yourself, and you feel shame, you know, and then you get free.
Essentially, it's a similar idea of the snapshot, which I'll show you in a second, which is more of a quick one, except you just get a bigger swing into it, which really can or can't create more power. It's up to you. If you use just your upper body, it's not going to do anything. Again, the legs are really key to all of this. You can weigh 300 pounds, bench at 800 pounds, but you're still only going to be able to shoot so hard because if you, it's really all legs shooting. So again, try and slow this down. Think of the whole closed kinetic chain idea. Now you don't want to swing back too far. Like I said, it's not golfing. You're not taking a swing. I kind of just swing a tiny bit, enough that I shift the weight kind of insignificantly, what looks insignificant, but actually is quite a bit. So again, the power all comes from the legs on the slap shot. Now you have to really keep in mind when you're taking that shot, what's really key is bearing down hard, which that's very much a hockey term, bearing down on it, which is really getting the flexion in the stick right here, just getting that bend. This happens to be a very flexy stick, which means when the flex comes out, the power's down a little more, you can get a little more help shooting. So again, that should look kind of like this. Another important part of the game would be the wrist shot. Probably my least favorite shot to take, personally. I just don't really like it. But it's very effective. And that's more of a fluid motion. You're getting the puck back here, pulling it through, following through, pointing where you want to shoot. So it looks something like this. Kind of now probably I would say the least common shot to see taken in a game would be the backhand. NHL level, some guys can do it and get off a pretty good backhand. But generally you want to be closer in when you're taking this, usually right up in the net. Actually, it's usually part of a deke. But that's supposed to be kind of like a snapshot and a wrist shot combined, except on the backhand. So wrist shot would be like that, just kind of whipping it through. Which you can do that on the backhand, but more commonly it's a snapshot. My favorite shot personally is the snapshot. People kind of get a misconception about the snapshot that it's just a little slap shot, but it's actually closer to a wrist shot if anything. Wrist shot, pulling through and just kind of moving your arms, not really snapping. The snapshot is bringing it in and pulling it and ripping it. So, remember, the weight transfer is really key, especially in this one. This gets down to very general. It's very general. There's the European style of hockey, and then there's the more North American, Canadian style. European emphasizes emphasizes stick skills, more passing, more movement, and it's very fluid play. And it really emphasizes a lot of carrying the puck and shooting. It's a lot of individualism, and individualism to build to a whole. But individual skills are really key to that. But that's the more European style, which favors the Olympic size ice because it's more space for passing and whatnot. Now, you take the Canadian, North American style, that's more of the dump and chase philosophy. So if you bring the camera over here, just if I'm bringing into the offensive zone, I'll come in here, say that's my offensive zone, dump it into the blue line, and go get it. That's more the Canadian style, the more North American. A little more aggressive on the physical standpoint as far as making some hits here and there. But historically, I'd say the European style a little more effective sometimes. I think the best teams probably would be the teams that are a combination of the two. Which a perfect example, if any of you have seen Miracle, 1988 Soviet Union team, they like to hit, like to play very physical, like to play a very American style in that sense, very Canadian style really. But they all have a lot of skill. And the American team shows you that heart can trump overall in hockey.